Welcome to this week's edition of Flashback Friday, your opportunity to get some good review by listening to episodes from the past that Jason has handpicked to help you today in the present and propel you into the future. Enjoy.
Speakers, publishers, consultants, coaches, and info marketers unite. The Speaking of Wealth Show is your roadmap to success and significance. Learn the latest tools, technologies, and tactics to get more bookings, sell more products, and attract more clients. If you're looking to increase your direct response sales, create a big-time personal brand, and become the go-to guru, the Speaking of Wealth Show is for you. Here's your host, Jason Hartman.
Welcome to the Speaking of Wealth Show. This is your host, Jason Hartman, where we discuss profit strategies for speakers, publishers, authors, consultants, coaches, info marketers, and just go over a whole bunch of exciting things that you can use to increase your business, to make your business more successful and more passive and more automated and more scalable. So we will be back with a great interview. Be sure to visit us at speakingofwealth.com. You can take advantage of our blog, subscribe to the RSS feed, and many other resources for free at speakingofwealth.com. And we will be back with a great interview for you in less than 60 seconds. Hey, it's my pleasure to welcome Greg Hickman to the show. He is the creator and host of Mobile Mixed, and he is an expert on mobile marketing. He was in it way before, in the old days, before the iPhone, back in 2005. So in internet years, and especially in mobile marketing years, that is the olden days. Hey, Greg, welcome. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing very well.
Well, the pleasure is all mine. So tell us a little bit about your background and the show and what you do now.
Absolutely. So got started in mobile marketing in 2005, and this was kind of before the iPhone took off. So worked with a lot of brands and professional sports teams implementing mobile promotions using text message marketing and what was then called the mobile web. Has since evolved. Consulting with a handful of different businesses, have worked with shopping centers, large retailers, and primarily now small to medium-sized businesses that are looking to generate leads and sales with mobile marketing. So mobile marketing means, text message marketing, mobile websites, smartphone applications, and things of that nature. And the site and podcast really got started. One, I will tell you honestly, selfishly, wanted to interview people that were doing really cool things in mobile marketing. So started interviewing some big brands and the people that represented the mobile efforts there. And that has evolved. A lot of small business owners kind of started following. They wanted to learn more about the topic and have now kind of focused on training those readers and listeners on how to implement these programs on smaller budgets so that they'll actually see results. So that's kind of the cliff notes.
Right. Hey, Greg, so give us some stats on the mobile marketing industry and why it is such a big deal and why it's just all the rage. And then I want to ask you about the way, it's just sort of interesting, the way some speakers and convention companies are extensively using mobile marketing. I'll share some of my own experiences with that. But what's the big deal about mobile?
Yeah, so the way in which we as consumers consume content has changed, and there's been reports that more people will access the internet from their mobile phone compared to their desktop PC by the end of next year. I believe that's already happened now. The few that I think are really important are that ways in which, at least from a digital perspective, that businesses are now communicating with their customers has pretty much gone all mobile. So depending on your industry, they say about 43% of all emails are opened from a mobile phone. I know some retailers that's well over 50%. If you look at Facebook, they just announced that over 70%, 70 of all of their usage is happening from a mobile device. Twitter is in the exact same ballpark. YouTube, 25% of global YouTube views are happening from a mobile device. So, really at the end of the day, it's just you have to kind of follow the consumer. They decide how they connect with you as a content creator, as a business owner, and you really just need to be there to give them the best experience possible. And that just happens to be, on a mobile phone at this point. So, for all of those reasons, I think as a business owner, you can't ignore it anymore. You really have no choice. And I'll end with, Google just made an announcement that as of, I believe it's mid to end of September, they will start changing the way that their results display sites from a mobile search perspective. So if you do not have a mobile optimized site, they're actually going to derank you, demote you in their search results for people that are searching from a mobile phone, because so much of search now is conducted, especially on a local level, from a mobile device. So they're aiming to please the mobile searcher, the mobile user. So if your business isn't mobile optimized, you might not be showing up anymore.
Okay, so that's a really good thing to know, and it's something every listener needs to pay attention to. But WordPress has a mobile feature, and when you do a WordPress site, which is certainly the most popular platform, it comes up in mobile. If the mobile version of it, I think automatically. I don't know. I mean, our web developer may have done something special to make that happen on our sites, but it just seems like you get a mobile version automatically when you're on a mobile device. Is that correct? And does that do the job, in other words, or do you need to do more to make yourself friendly to Google's mobile search results?
I would say it depends. So WordPress has evolved, a lot over the last few years, and if you use their base theme, usually it's called 2011 or 2012 or 2013. They now build that using what's called responsive design. So if you're using that base theme, all of your content will be mobile friendly. So that'll help you be offering that mobile solution. So that'll help you in your results from a search perspective. A lot of themes that people download that they use instead of that base theme, just because the base theme is very bare, from a creative look and feel perspective, are not responsive. So if you're using something that is not responsive currently from a WordPress perspective, you are not going to be offering the best experience. So there's kind of two things to look at. Responsive design is one solution that a lot of WordPress themes are now starting to adopt. Not all, but many of them. And then there's this concept of creating a separate mobile experience. So, you can use content management system tools like a WordPress that are focused on creating the mobile optimized solutions. So you kind of have those two options, really. So it really depends on, what WordPress theme you're using. If you are using WordPress, or there are some also plugins out there, but the plugins really only mobile optimize the blog in a lot of cases. So, if you're a restaurant and you're using WordPress and you use one of these mobile plugins, it might not be optimizing the critical areas of the site that are going to be converting those customers, or converting those visitors rather. So it kind of depends.
Okay, well, there's an answer for you. Okay, so I have been impressed going to conventions, concerts, speaking events, to see that a lot of them have an iPhone app, and they are using mobile marketing extensively. I mean, they're doing text messages for conference updates, mapping of the venue and where the breakout sessions are, and all kinds of things. That's pretty impressive, and certainly everybody's on a mobile device at one of those events.
Right.
So very good fit for that. Can you address that at all?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, like you mentioned, that's a perfect venue to offer a mobile solution that is actually solving your customer's problem. So as an event organizer, most people, probably have their laptop with them, but they're not using it throughout the entire day, depending on the structure of the conference. Being able to quickly look at your phone, see the agenda, engage with other people that might be attending similar sessions or workshops. The apps that are available for some of these conferences today are really, really sleek, and you can see, when you connect it to your social media profile, who of maybe your friends are attending the same sessions and things like that. You can create your own schedule, so you can kind of, have your own calendar of events. But it really is just a way for event organizers to offer a utility that people can have in hand that delivers them value throughout the entire event. I see a lot of conferences now doing like sweepstakes within those applications. And then you also have the text messaging side that you mentioned. The thing that I really love about text messaging, especially from an event perspective, is that most likely you're as an event attendee, you're going to delete that event app after the event is over, unless it's some sort of overarching company that hosts tons of events and all of those events have information within that one app, which you don't really see that much of. So once that app is deleted, you have to get them engaged again for the next conference. Whereas with text message marketing, you can be opting them into receiving notifications for that event and then kind of be sending them updates. Maybe there's, special opportunities that you need to communicate, or maybe a speaker canceled or a time got changed that, using text messaging, the immediacy of that is really, really powerful, which I'll talk about in a second. But you're capturing that mobile number for future marketing. So when that event is ending, you can send out one more message saying, hey, we're really happy you enjoyed the event. If you'd like to receive messages for our upcoming event, if you'll be attending, reply yes. And all those people that reply yes are now opting into receiving messages about this upcoming event. Whereas if they just deleted the app, there's really no way for you to connect with them for those future events. So it is low tech. It's not as sexy as smartphone applications, but it does do the job and really powerful. And the immediacy aspect is what makes it so powerful. So statistically, 97% of text messages are read within 15 minutes. And it's, I think, just over 90 that are read within 4. So there's really no other channel that is as immediate as that is as personal as that, and then that really sort of interrupts as much as that. So, there is no text message spam folder. It's not like Twitter where it's kind of on demand, where I have to go look to see if someone, messaged me, depending on my settings. Like, it'll break through all of the clutter and your recipient will see it within minutes, which is extremely powerful when you have a time-sensitive offer.
Sure it is. What are some tips on the ways people can use mobile marketing? Just share some of I know there's a zillion ways, and
Sure.
We're all familiar with them to some extent because we use them as consumers. We consume this, maybe we joined a text list and we're getting text, maybe we're using several apps, coupon apps, things like that. But, what are some of the hot things, that sort of special thing that kind of stand out?
Sure. Well, so, I always like to approach things from a strategic perspective, and I'll start with the fact that most businesses that get involved in mobile, whether it's text message marketing or an app or what have you, they typically dive in from a tactical perspective. So they see someone doing text message marketing and then they just start doing it. They don't really have a reason behind why they're doing it. So what I like to kind of do with businesses is mobilize something that they're already doing. So, if you look at like a retailer, most retailers have some sort of loyalty program. They send out coupons or, things like that. You can just mobilize that program by whether it's, through text message marketing or what have you. That's something that you already do in your business. You're just doing it in a different way. So a comment that, is often stated in mobile is, the what in business hasn't changed. We're trying to sell more stuff at the end of the day. And it's really the how we accomplish that has changed. So instead of spending all this money on print coupons, why don't you mobilize those coupons and deliver a weekly coupon via text message? So I always look to the business to see what they're already doing and start there. But outside of that, it's with the kind of the importance of having that mobile website, it is really a no-brainer to say, the first thing you should do if you don't already have a mobile website is to make sure that people can find you and have a good viewing experience from a mobile device. So I don't know if that completely answers it, but I'd prefer to keep it simple, because I think a lot of people try to overcomplicate it and say, create an app or what have you. But it really is mobilize something that you're doing that's actually solving a problem for your customer, or making your customer's life easier, or maybe even solving an internal problem.
Yeah, very good points, very good points. So what can a business expect in terms of creating an app? Is there sort of a certain entry point price-wise, and, any ideas for app creation?
Yeah, so there are a handful of tools and services out there that will help you create what I call kind of stock smartphone applications. You have drag and drop functionality of, you can embed your Facebook feed or your Twitter feed and have an event calendar. I personally don't like those. I think, you're very boxed in to that experience, and those people are, those businesses capitalize on the business owner who thinks they need an application for something. I will tell you that the mobile web is all about discovery, and applications are all about loyalists. So if your business has loyalists, an application might be something you want to get involved in. And when you approach that loyalist, you don't want to just repurpose your mobile website into an application. And a lot of those solutions, those DIY, do-it-yourself solutions, really that's all they offer is we're gonna put all of your website content into an app, where that doesn't necessarily deliver any extended value to the loyalist.
Yeah, no, I get it.
So
I want to ask you though, before you look, obviously something custom is better. Nobody's going to doubt that. But what are the names of some of those services that do this like drag and drop functionality and things like that, where people can? Because what I'm thinking in asking that is that it might be like the first step if someone listening doesn't have the budget or they don't know exactly what to do custom. Once they start tinkering with it, I know I found this in my own business. Once I start kind of tinkering with something, my interest level increases, and I'm thinking, gosh, yeah, we can't do that with this because it's boxing us in too much. And if we could do that, that would be really cool. So I think it's maybe worth mentioning because it might get some people on the bandwagon.
Sure. So one that comes to mind is a company called Apps Bar, APPS Bar. That's really the one that comes to the top of my mind at the moment because I really try to avoid those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
So yeah, I would check out Apps Bar. I actually know the founder of that organization. Very, very good gentleman there. Really just trying to help a lot of businesses. But I think, again, because knowing that it ends up being a loyalist, you need to kind of go above and beyond. So, most of these solutions, if you even just do, create a mobile app for my business, you'll get a handful of them. And, any of them range, they'll range anywhere from $50 a month to, I see some that are like $500 a month. And, some of that is depending on which features and, functionality you want to incorporate from their suite of tools. But if you do go custom route, depending on where that development is done, you could expect to pay, a couple thousand, and if you're going super advanced, you have a franchise and there's 50 locations, you're definitely going to be tens to 20s, of thousands of dollars at least.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, well, yeah, it can be expensive. Okay. Other hot tips in mobile marketing.
So I would say the most overlooked thing is mobile optimizing your email. Most businesses are already using email. So you can, depending on which service provider you're using, you could download responsive email templates, very much like the responsive website design, which essentially just reformats your email template to display better on a mobile phone. And if you literally Google responsive email templates, you'll find a handful of options. $8, you can download a handful of templates. $20, that price point, you could download those and incorporate those into the email service provider that you use. But a couple tips there that have nothing to do from a technology standpoint. So just thinking about how your customer and when your customer might be opening email. A lot of people send emails early in the morning from a newsletter perspective. Well, if you're anything like me, the first thing you do is unfortunately look at your mobile phone and kind of delete as many emails as you can from your email inbox to, kind of just filter out the things that might slow you down when you actually do sit down at your desk. It has become that filter for us, and things that might make you stand out. If you look at subject lines, a lot of people talk about write an intriguing subject line that will allow people to or engage people to open. On mobile devices, you have maybe 5 to 7 words before that subject line gets truncated, before you see the ... So start reviewing the emails that you send out to your customers. And if the kind of excitement and the enticing aspect of that subject line is in the 10th word, you might want to start thinking about rewording that subject line so that within 5 to 7 words, you're saying something that is going to make me want to click and open. Or tap and open rather. So I think that's really important. A lot of businesses miss that, and there's no technology behind it. That's just pure copywriting, knowing your customer. Do you need to be mysterious? The one thing you need to do ... and that's like your subject line. Those work. So you have to experiment, but just know that 5 to 7 words, you're truncated, and no one's even reading the rest of that. After that, I would say that if you have any sort of clickable links or buttons in your email, make sure that they are mobile friendly. So if you have a paragraph that has 3 links in it on a mobile device, and I go to click with my thumb, am I likely to hit 2 of those links? So am I going to be misclicking on certain things? You want to avoid that. So you want to create some padding in between your links. And then if you're using a button, the best practice is 44 pixels by 44 pixels at the minimum is what the button should be, that is kind of defined as thumb friendly. So mobile optimizing your email is a no-brainer start just because of that statistic we shared earlier. And then outside of that, so we talked about...
And let me just ask you about that. The mobile optimization of email is for autoresponders. Is that correct?
Autoresponders, newsletters, any email that goes out.
Oh, okay. All right. But it's not something you would use individually, like within your Apple Mail or Microsoft Outlook, right?
Correct. Yeah, so if you're sending like a newsletter that has graphics and stuff, you can download templates that will be mobile optimized. And then if you are sending emails that are just text-based, that still applies though. I mean, if you're B2B and you're a salesman just sending emails and you know that your ideal customer was probably looking at on their BlackBerry or something, then you might want to consider what that subject line is, because if they happen to use their mobile device as that filtering mechanism, like so many of us do, they might never even get to your email. So even just standard, peer-to-peer emails, I think these are things that people should be considering.
Good stuff. Anything else you want to say just to wrap it all up, Craig?
So we talked about mobile web, the importance of that. We talked about, how you should approach your app if you do build an app, and the mobile email, and we highlighted text messaging. I would just end with the power of text messaging is that you're creating that database that you can remarket to and have future messaging to. So just like generating leads via email, it can be a good channel to capture leads off of direct mail, off of TV, radio. It really can create an interactive experience on what was once non-interactive media. So I will end with that one.
Fantastic. Good points. Well, the website is mobilemixed.com, MIXED.com, and I challenge everybody listening to go hit Greg's website from their mobile phone.
Exactly.
I'd give you a little bit of a test there, Greg.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it is quite very well mobile optimized. Good stuff. Well, again, mobilemixed.com, and Greg Hickman, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
What's great about the shows you'll find on jasonhartman.com is that if you want to learn about investing in and managing income properties for college students, there's a show for that. If you want to learn how to get noticed online and in social media, there's a show for that. If you want to know how to save on life's largest expense, there's a show for that. And if you'd like to know about America's crime of the century, there's even a show for that. Yep, there's a show for just about anything. Only from jasonhartman.com. Or type in Jason Hartman in the iTunes store.
This show is produced by the Hartman Media Company, all rights reserved. For distribution or publication rights and media interviews, please visit www.hartmanmedia.com or email media@hartmanmedia.com. Nothing on this show should be considered specific personal or professional advice. Please consult an appropriate tax, legal, real estate, or business professional for individualized advice. Opinions of guests are their own, and the host is acting on behalf of Platinum Properties Investor Network, Inc. exclusively.